Yesterday was Monday for us. We put away the previous game. It was good to learn from some of the mistakes from the last game, but still get a win. As I mentioned the other night, I thought we played effectively in all three phases, and when you do that to help win, it does nothing but help your confidence in all three phases. Was really happy with the way we ran the ball, which can take some pressure off of our quarterbacks. Defensively, we took the ball away and scored, and then special teams blocking a kick, and I liked what we did with BP getting some returns. So all three phases affected it. We need that going into league play. We realize it's going to be a great venue on Friday night. It's going to be on ESPN2. We're playing a team that is really playing efficiently offensively. You can tell they're in the third year of their system. They've made great strides offensively. They're putting a lot of pressure with their triple option on people. It's a different scheme you've got to get used to, and it's tough with a short week to do that. But obviously that's our challenge this week. They're going to be having a whiteout. I imagine they'll have a big crowd. It's their league opener as well, and we're excited for a great contest between two teams in the league. And for us, the season starts this week, and our jobs go 1-0 this week. Last year, we're on to this year. Both of us have two totally different teams. I know they got a lot of confidence being down in the last couple of minutes, taking that offense driving on the road to get a win. They're a team that's going to be hungry because of last year, but also hungry because it's a first league game. They have hopes just like we do of competing for a league championship, and I think it's going to be more about that than any kind of revenge factor.
You had quarterback questions going into this last game. Do you have fewer questions now or more questions after the way Zach Greenlee threw the ball late?
Well, I think things got defined a little bit more for us this week. We will have a starter. We're not planning on playing two going into this week. We're not going to announce who it's going to be. But we'll have a starter. We'll have packages for other quarterbacks, but not necessarily to have a tryout or anything like that to see who's the guy.
So what you saw in the game Saturday night clarified things for you and Coach Schramm of who your guy is?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. All three, flashed. All three had some issues. It's likely not to be set in stone the entire season. I hope it is, but it's something that we're going to continually evaluate.
Figured something out on offense after a tough first quarter. Second quarter was a completely different story, completely different team.
Well, just like the first three games in that first quarter, we're having some breakdowns in execution, not always at the quarterback position. And we've got to challenge our guys to be accountable. And once we got into a rhythm, once we got into playing with tempo, I thought we played well. I was particularly pleased when Brandon came in, gave our offense a spark, and then he was struggling throwing the ball a little bit. But we got in a 2-minute situation. Ryan, who had thrown a pick early, made a bad decision. And a lot of times guys get down on themselves. We said, hey, look, we need a 2-minute drive, and in that situation, I thought he was our best option, based on what he's done through camp and through our games. And he took the team right down to a score and made some nice throws and good decisions. I think he gained a lot of confidence. We came back in the second half, did some things to spark our offense with some plays on defense, getting takeaways, and our offense took advantage, and just that momentum got us going. Going on the road again, you got to create your own momentum. So we need to do some things defensively or on special teams to hopefully spark our offense, and hopefully we can generate some things offensively to get into a rhythm and play fast, because that's ultimately where we play our best.
Is this the last week where you're going to try to keep your quarterback a secret till Saturday?
You guys think I have a plan doing this thing? I don't. We'll play Friday, and
yeah, Friday.
We'll play Friday, and we'll announce it then, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully our starter will play like he deserves to be the starter, and we'll go from there.
And you actually have to prepare for more than they do, because they played 4 guys at quarterback in their game the other day.
Yeah, Cole Gauchi's been there a few years, but he's had some injury issues. The other 2 quarterbacks are just as athletic, they're like us. they've got some good, talented, athletic guys that they just don't have the experience. But they're 9th in the country in rushing. They're clearly putting a lot of pressure on people, no matter who the trigger guy is. Really like their running backs. They've got some good running backs. And as far as efficiently running their offense, they're executing at probably the best clip that we've seen them execute.
Yeah, they played Gauchi, Mitchum, and Jordan. They even had McCown in there, who ran the ball, the former Hillmar Yellow Jacket, and then they had a running back throw a touchdown pass. You guys got to watch for quite a bit.
Yeah, Coach DeBest does a great job. He's a former A&M coach, and then he was over at Sam Houston. Took him to the championship game when he was there. And he's been running this version of triple since his days with Dennis Franchione, and they know how to do it right. It's fun. I've got an option defense background, just to see them scheme-wise, what they're doing out of different sets, different personnel groupings. They know how they know their X and O's, and you can see them gaining advantages for their players. If you don't adjust, they can bloody your nose.
Coach, what changes playing on a Friday night instead of Saturday?
Well, we just fast forward the calendar. So yesterday was Monday for us. Our typical Monday, we go through the film in the morning, kind of put Saturday to rest, and then we come back in the afternoon and meet, and we're on the field for about an hour. Yesterday, since it was the day after the game, we just did a walkthrough, showing the formations and plays that New Mexico's offense does, and then defensively how they defend certain personnel groupings. Today's, it's Monday for you guys, it's Tuesday for us. So we'll be in full pads today. We'll be out for a couple hours. We'll have some meetings. It's a normal Tuesday.
Right. In your previous experience with the Friday night, does that game feel any different? And do you think it would be not as different this year when you start to play 4 of them in a row? It's not an outlier.
Well, I think the second one, definitely feels like you're just in a normal game week. It's always the first one, especially when you're traveling. You're short a half a day because of that. They had to play Saturday night on the road as well. So, both teams have the same issues to deal with. It's a short week. I think when you play an offense like they have that's dramatically different than anything we've faced so far, execution-wise, it's going to be a little bit difficult having one less day of preparation, but, it is what it is. I'm sure they're not complaining that they have that advantage that way. Hopefully they'll have one less day to prepare for us offensively, and that'll hurt their defense. But both teams have the same, advantage/disadvantage. It'd be different if they had 2 weeks to get ready for us. Then I'd be a little bit more concerned. But both teams have the same deal.
Coach, what was your final assessment of how your defense played as a whole on Saturday night?
We still gave up too many big plays. I thought we really played the run well. I was pleased with that. I was pleased with the way we took the ball away. I thought we played with a ton of energy. But you can't give up, plays where they're throwing the ball over your head or you're falling down on a simple slant play. And so we've either got to, get different personnel or, change the way we call the game if we can't get guys to execute our defense. Now, I think our guys gained a lot of confidence. Our guys weren't discouraged in that first quarter. They knew where the breakdowns were, and we had to get that corrected. We did, and we went out and executed. At the same time, you got to give Southern Utah credit. Those guys played hard. They weren't easy to block. They were guys that were fighting. Until we got a couple scores up on them, when we kind of broke their will a little bit, they were, very, very competitive team. Very similar to what we saw them against, Nevada that first week. It's a 6-0 game, against a good Nevada team. And, that game was I think 8 or 9 point game at the end of the game. So, we knew this was a good game or a good team. I was just pleased that we were able to capitalize on some momentum from whether special teams or defense, keep that momentum going on offense and play at a tempo where we can keep on their heels and run the ball really well.
And did you expect Zach Greenlee to come in the way he was? He didn't look like a guy playing his first college game the way he threw the ball around. They still had their first string secondary in there.
Yeah, no, he did a really nice job. A lot of times young guys going in the first time, they're going to take the chip throws, the easy throws, and for him to, throw the takeoff to Damari and put it right on the money, I was impressed. I think the ball came out of his hands really, really well. He read the coverage on when we threw the skinny post back to Damari, and the timing, everything was really, really nice. And I think he showed a glimpse of what he's capable of doing. It hurt him being out those 4 weeks with the injury through camp, but he's a guy we're going to continue to invest reps in to see how quickly he can develop.
I know you don't want to say the name of the guy who's going to start Friday night, but can you give us an estimate of the percentage?
How tall he is?
Yeah. Show us a picture. Practice reps this week. What percentage of the first team reps will that starter be getting between now and Friday?
He'll get the majority of the reps. You know, we do things, you know, we'll package different things, but the guy who starts will get the majority of the reps. It's not going to be a 50-50, and we're planning on playing both quarterbacks half the game kind of a situation, like we've done the last couple weeks.
Right. So that's different going forward. So
yeah, it is different. Well, you know, really going into the Nebraska game because of the injury, you know, clearly Brian got just about all the reps.